This is our 2012 Scion IQ, and it's officially the smallest car in our Turo fleet. And this is our 2018 Lincoln Navigator L for a long boy, and it is officially the biggest car in our Turo fleet. And this is our 28th and this is our 29th vehicle in our Turo fleet. Let's give you the tours. So we didn't intend to actually buy the smallest car in our Turo fleet at the same time as buying our biggest car in our Turo fleet, but it just happened that way. So all the fancy stuff that this car has, like projector headlights, a premium purplish paint. This is actually called Black Courant. And that's about it for the outside. It has real quirky things like silver painted mirrors, turn signals, but other than that, not a whole lot going out on the outside of this car. Let's go to the back and see the storage. Now, believe it or not, this car actually does have a decent amount of cargo room when the seats are folded down. Yes, this car actually does have 4 seats in it, but when the seats are up, you have no cargo room. Now, being 6'9" and 3/4", you're actually able to fit back here. If I pull this seat forward a little bit and adjust it right about there, I'm in. I'm not comfy, but I'm in. And if someone were sitting next to me, I'd probably have a little less space right here in the center. We might have to share each other's arm room. But we do have our own individual cup holders, which is actually really neat. So while there's not a lot of room, there certainly is more space than you'd think, considering the size of the vehicle. Now for a Scion, Scion was Toyota's cool hippie brand. It's not quite base model, but it does have a little bit of like flavor to it. So you have these nice cool patterned seats, and they're almost buckets. They're borderline GT500 Recaros, the way they bolster out and keep you nice and cozy in the seat. In addition to that, you have this nice sporty steering wheel with red stitching, and it's a faux leather, but it's still leather-esque. You have a leather emergency shift boot, and this is actually really related to a lot of the Yaris components. So you'll see things like the Yaris shifter, all of the buttons, even the center air control display is very similar to a Toyota Yaris. Another part of the cool interior is going to be things like this radio. The radio bezel itself is actually the same color as these door speakers right here for the tweeters. It's painted to match the outside of the vehicle on the inside, something you don't find a lot in a very small, let alone a cheap vehicle. Unlike a Toyota Yaris, this car is anything but base model, especially with the small little interior appliques. You have things like steering wheel controls for the radio. The radio is Bluetooth and satellite equipped, and on top of that, it does have everything power on the doors. It has remote keyless entry, and it also has power mirrors. We bought this car for $5,000. It's a 2012 with 125,000 miles on it, and we're confident we can actually rent this out for $30 to $35 a day. Now let's move on to the complete opposite of this vehicle, the Lincoln Navigator. So I used to sell these things as I used to work at a Lincoln dealership, and this thing has a load of features, so I'll keep it brief, but try and keep up. Let's talk about lighting. It has like double of everything. It has dual projectors for the daytime running lamps and the headlamps, has auto high beams, and it has dual daytime running lamps with LED fog lights. Every light on this vehicle is actually LED. Now this was the biggest change for Lincoln during this time, being that this was a 2018, this was a full refresh after nearly like 15 years of the same body style and ugly front ends. Has this wonderful pedestal grille where it puts the Lincoln logo on a pedestal.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah. Now you know what they say, you can't lose with 22s. This thing actually has the upgraded optional 22-inch wheels. Now to remind you, this isn't just a regular Navigator, this is the Navigator L for long boy. And it's actually 220 inches, and in American Freedom units, that's 18 and a third feet long. You can actually get a sense of just how big this vehicle is once you're inside of it. So let's take a look. Now being 6'9" and 3/4", I actually have way too much room. This car is built for NBA players like myself. So this is actually their preferred choice of vehicle because it's not just the length of getting in, it's also the height, and I have plenty of room. So even with the driver's seat back, I still have plenty of room. And even with this seat pushed all the way back, I still have plenty of room in the third row. And I can even recline. So this car has 7 seats for full-grown adults and room in the back as well. One of my favorite things about the Navigator is that everyone needs to have a drink because this is America and we all need beverages. There's 13 total cup holders, 8 of them being back here. And if I had the optional center console in the middle, I'd have an additional 2 on top of that.
Why would you ever need that many cup holders?
People toasties. There's loads of features in this vehicle. You have heated seats. These also tilt and slide forward, which is really nice, and it makes getting into the back a breeze because the entire base moves forward. On top of that, there's also loads of charging things because this is a dedicated passenger vehicle. You have 2 quick charging USBs in the rear for your rear passengers. You have an additional 2 right here in the center, and you also have a built-in inverter with a 110 outlet, so you can put in a full-size laptop charger, a microwave, a toaster, a curling iron. Endless possibilities of this thing. Now, as far as the other cool features, this thing actually does have the optional multi-contouring seats that actually massage your front and back. And what I mean by that is they massage your butt. And this thing is loaded with every tech package for the time. Heated and cooled seats, 360 bird's eye view camera, all of the adaptive cruise control and safety features. And on top of that, it has a DLP projector for a heads-up display, so you can wear your polarizing lenses and still be able to view it. Like I said, every tech feature, and if I'm holding something, I can actually just swipe my foot and the rear liftgate opens up. If I don't need the entire rear liftgate to open up, I can actually open up just the glass and make use of just throwing stuff in the back without everything falling out. There's a huge amount of cargo space back here, and if you don't need the seats actually up, you can press a button and the seats will automatically fold down for you. You also have some additional cubbies down here and right up here. Now, just to recap, this is a 2018 Lincoln Navigator L with every feature on it, and we bought it for $37,200 out the door, and it actually only has 78,000 miles. And we believe we can rent this vehicle out from anywhere between $100 to $125 a day. Now, the size difference between these 2 cars is actually really comical. One seats 4 and one seats 7, and one is quite literally less than half. Now, I think honestly, if I really wanted to, I could actually fit this Scion inside of the Navigator if I fold the seats down. This car literally comes from the top of it to right about halfway in the glass. This car is huge compared to this one. But which car is faster? Well, I mean, what do you expect? It has a Raptor engine with 450 horsepower versus a little 1.3 liter 4-cylinder engine that is actually smaller than a Toyota Yaris. Now, speed aside, we actually do predict that this Scion IQ is going to kill it on Turo, despite it being a third of the size and way cheaper than this Lincoln Navigator. Now, these cars will be listed just in time for the holidays, so we're excited to see how well they perform on Turo. So as always, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next episode.